Welcome, beloveds. Welcome to Ascension Live. I am Astarius, Miraculii, loving you with the passion of heaven, championing you to divine remembrance, championing myself to divine remembrance, and the universe to divine remembrance. Today's subject is the marriage of contrast. The marriage of contrast. Many times we experience things that are very contrasting. There are contrasts to what it is that we want. We experience things that are not our favorite, that we would have a different preference. For example, it is wise and empowering to engage in the marriage of the contrast of the pandemic. Marriage of the contrast of COVID-19. COVID-19, the pandemic, represents something that is absolutely not our favorite, not something that we prefer. And yet, if we are to achieve the full measure of empowerment that is available unto us, we must perform the marriage of the contrast. We take that situation that is not preferred by us, allowing it to become married to a level of acceptance. Acceptance not in preferring, acceptance not as in adding more energy to it or giving greater longevity to it, but acceptance as in recognizing that it has its right to be, and it is meant to be, servant unto our expansion and servant unto our empowerment. We are meant to become even more empowered by virtue of the difficulties associated with the pandemic, associated with the virus crisis, because we can be empowered by everything. There is cause, effect, and then there is effect. Something has caused this situation, and then we have the effect of the pandemic, the wearing of the mask, the social distancing. All of this is the reflection of the effect of the cause that has been brought into our sphere. But we perform the marriage of the contrast, or the marriage of the differences, by way of the effect. What effect are we allowing the circumstantial effects in the world to have upon us? Are we allowing it to affect us in such a way that we give our power away? Are we allowing ourselves to become diminished in the essence of who we are because of what's going on? Are we allowing ourselves to become molested by fear and panic? That would not be the most appropriate or empowering effect to have. We want to utilize the effect as the place of our choosing to be empowered by everything, to be empowered and enriched by something even like the pandemic. Maybe you say, we're being knocked down by this experience. So there's a contrast when we're knocked down. It's a contrast. It's not our favorite. We don't want that. We're knocked down. It hurts. But when we perform the marriage of contrast, the marriage of differences, then we recognize that we get up stronger than we were before we went down. And of course, we get up stronger than we were before we went down when we choose to allow that circumstantial effect of being knocked down to come into the resonant effect of our being empowered by that difficulty. When we perform the marriage of differences, the marriage of contrast, then we reach another level of empowerment. We might say that man and woman are contrast, very different. And yet the essence of the man exists within the woman, and the essence of the woman exists within the man. And when there is the marriage of that contrast, or the so-called differences there, then the essence of man and woman come together to reveal one another to each other and become a catalyst for empowerment. Day and night are contrast. Some of us prefer and favor the daytime. Some of us prefer the nighttime. Some of us are night owls, and we stay up, late hours of the night. And yet we don't have to make the daytime awful to justify the fact that we're night owls. We perform the marriage of contrast, the marriage of differences. Some of the contrast is reflected through the things in your life that have been the most hurtful to you. But the marriage of the contrast would be you responding from a place of the affect that I'm going to choose to have this difficult experience in my life have an effect on me that is enriching, that is empowering, that takes me to a higher level of being. Marriage of contrast, marriage of differences, allowing those things that are vastly different from each other to have the right to coexist within the same space on the same time. But in the marriage of the contrast, in the marriage of the differences, we are utilizing that divine connection with Source to cause that which is contrasting to be a blessing unto us. Just like COVID can be one of the greatest blessings of our lives, but we have to choose that. We choose that by the marriage of contrast. When we're not in the empowerment of the marriage of contrast, we're pushing on a Dormar pool. We're trying to push something away before we learn all that we're meant to learn by that something. And so there are some things that we're meant to learn from the difficulties that exist within the world. Sometimes being severely faced with that which we really don't want, we become more passionate about bringing into being that which we really do want. See, the contrast serves in that respect. There's a contrast in the world. Some of the things that we had available to us and accessible to us in the world that are no longer available, social things that we do, the gym, the theater, the restaurants, just the whole social experience. And when we get to the other side of this, as a result of the contrast, we will have an up-leveled appreciation for so many of those things that maybe we've taken for granted. So let's perform the marriage of contrast. Hear ye, O seeker, play not a game of chance. Maintain a lofty attitude to conquer lowly circumstance. Some circumstances seem so bad, though goodness in disguise, it's up to us to see the good or else be victimized. For if a circumstance seems down and we reject it with a frown, that circumstance is then compelled to pull us down in mental hell. But if we keep our mind on high, our gaze on high, despite the pain of circumstance, up with our attitude, the circumstance rises, and beyond its pain, we then advance. Bitter circumstance is as a medicine to bring the wellness of a learned lesson. But we must swallow this medicine down to receive the healing and achieve the blessing. For if we spit this medicine out, life gives another dose without a doubt, and then we become victim of circumstance, a tyrant from which we can't advance until we learn to face it with a smile, drink that bitter cup, and go the extra mile, so that all things may be enhanced, because your attitude is more important than circumstance. That's a selection from my book, Miraculii, Song of Ascension. I highly recommend it. So the marriage of contrast, see, bitter circumstance is as a medicine to bring the wellness of a learned lesson. You know, the bitter medicine of COVID-19, the bitter medicine of this chaotic fear that exists within the world. Bitter medicine, you know, or bitter circumstance is as a medicine to bring the wellness of a learned lesson. But we must swallow this medicine down to receive the healing and achieve the blessing. So when we swallow the medicine down, that is the marriage of the contrast. We're not pushing on a door-marked pool. If you're pushing on a door-marked pool, you can't get rites of passage. You see, you have to take that handle, pull that door open to the point of wide swing, then you're able to walk through that door. But if you're pushing on a door-marked pool, you can't get through. To take the handle and receive that door unto yourself is to perform the marriage of contrast, the marriage of differences. Because it's not your favorite, this thing that you're facing, but it's still a door-marked pool. Because we have to receive those things in order to learn the lesson. Bitter circumstance is as a medicine to bring them the wellness of a learned lesson, but we must swallow the medicine down to receive the healing and achieve the blessing. Because if we spit the medicine out, life is going to give another dose without a doubt, and then we become victim of circumstance, a tyrant from which we can't advance until we learn to face it with a smile, drink that bitter cup, and go the extra mile, so that all things may be enhanced, because your attitude is more important than circumstance. Perform the marriage of contrast. Judge nothing. Don't judge your judgment. Don't hate your hatred. Don't fear your fear. And don't hurt more than your pain. Don't be uncomfortable with your discomfort. Everything is meant to be servant unto your expansion, my expansion, our expansion. We are to be empowered by everything. And in order to do so, we must perform the marriage of contrast. Teaching contrasting experiences to coexist. See, just like if we go to the central core of the pandemic, we find pure light, because light owns the center of everything. So when we perform the marriage of contrast, it's not that we're wanting to dance with the negativity of that contrasting thing, but that contrasting thing is not just negative, because at the central core is a place of pure light, just like the eye of the storm, a place of pristine peace that is untouched by the turbulence. Yeah, I love you so much. If you knew how much I'm loving you, you'd be dancing all around. I lift you up. I lift me up. I lift the world and the universe up. We have the power to do that. Mountain heights of heaven's land, we now invoke the master plan. Cause it's our divine birthright, we're giving back our cosmic sight. At dawn of life, we were so high, with the angels we did fly. We now ascend to higher plane, the ancient times now come again. 'Tis in the name of holy peace that all our blessings now increase. Our great abundance now comply with power of our single eye. We bless the darkness, make it right, reverse the tide, and free the light. God, Goddess, make our power ever pure, else let the power not endure. We love and lift our fellow man and woman and understand the master plan for us. There's simply nothing new except that which our souls always knew. First eye, spin at speed of light, within, without, come now our sight. Mighty Spirit Elohim, make truth of this our cosmic dream. Yes, our eye is really single, with light our bodies do now tingle. Oh, our souls are so brand new, we now know all that we once knew. Relationship created from above, a vessel for the journey of love, sailing upon the human seas, mirrors of self that set us free. Our human goal above any other, to reveal one another to each other. When I relate to you, I learn and I see, and yet my greatest learning is always about me. Relationship must be the key to my self-mastery. The past is gone, the future takes too long. Time to sing a current song. Only now can take me home. Only now can show me how my life, oh heaven, re-endow. Emotional pain from long ago within my heart rips to and fro. How many others will I blame for the horrors of my pain? Resentment pushed me from the tower. Forgiveness is my get-up power. Forgive the past, trust the present, make the future sweet and pleasant. It is wise not to despise it. Use the dong to fertilize it, for life's greatest connoisseur gets the best crops from the best manure. I say the heathen spoil the seed and cause my little heart to bleed. Yet if I had not the need, they couldn't do these awful deeds. If in fact I need the lesson, the pain they cause becomes my blessing. The real truth is they work for me. So what shall be their salary? To ensure that it serves me best, I'll pay them the wages of forgiveness. Relationship the vessel. Relationship is a vessel for the journey of true love. No matter Who the bond is with, the journey leads back home above. For God is all there really is. This the truth will surely tell. Forgotten oneness with my God, now trapped within an earthly spell. Once upon eternity, there was nothing else but me, an all-pervading godliness with every possibility. Then I split myself in two to be the me as well as you, and then to be the multitude. But oneness never to exclude. I dance the dance of harmony with every living part of me, then roll me all back into one. The one in all was so much fun. Then part of me felt at a loss, unless it be a separate boss. A bitter war I waged with me. Lost in hell, no longer free, I forgot that I was whole. Ripped apart my very soul, the life within cannot be lost. Illusion was the only cost. So cease the war, no more attack. Heaven, you must take me back, hand in hand with all of me. Again, I'm ready to be free, though from my path I once did stray. Forgiveness says it's all okay. Now all I be is homeward bound, where only wholeness can be found. Love of all, the key to me, a bridge to God, where I am free. Everything through oneness shown, infinite love. Now take me home. So much fun. I love you so much. Thank you, beloveds, for remembering who you are. Thank you for remembering that you have the power to perform the marriage of contrast and the marriage of differences. Thank you for remembering the eternal nature of your soul. Thank you for knowing that you make a monumental impact upon the expansion of life, that life is better by virtue of you. Thank you for loving on yourself always, and knowing that the only prerequisite that you need for loving yourself is that you live, move, and have your being. And we know that's true because there you are, sitting inside of your own existence. And that's how Creator loves you. Infinite love and infinite validation of you by virtue of your being, not your doing, achieving, or creating. So love yourself by virtue of your being. I love you by virtue of your being. I am Astarius Miraculii. Please be sure and experience my website, Astarius.com. I have a great number of musical albums, a couple of books there. I am available for sound healing transmissions with didgeridoo and vocal harmonics, intuitive astrology, and I practice and teach Reiki. I am broadcasting to you from the Red Rocks of Sedona, Arizona, my home, which is, or that is, this Ascension temple space that I am in. My home temple is positioned as a vortex in the vortex of Sedona, Arizona. Thank you for your generous donations, all of you that have done that. I do receive gracious donations by way of Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, as well as a donation button on my website. Thank you for offering your comments, because many people are greatly blessed by virtue of the comments that you leave and that you offer. Oh my Goddess, I love you so much, and I believe in you, and I believe in us, and our victory is at hand over every difficult situation as we engage in the mastery of performing the marriage of contrast, the marriage of differences.